Hello, and welcome to the Youth Netball Premier League. We're all in conjunction with the ENG and FBL Broadcasting, obviously live streaming it where we can. We'll come back to that in a minute. FBL, part of the Canadian Corporation Limited, and we have Richard Tweed from ENG with us. Hello, Richard.
Good evening. Yeah, good evening. We had so much talk. Did so much talking prior to this. I've run out of things to say.
Yeah, we were talking about eggs, chips, and beans, and cups of tea, how to make them. Very interesting. Which Jess is going to be like, "What on earth is that all about?"
Well, we will probably do a little question out. We'll put a debate out to everyone who, in regards to how they make their tea. It's a big question, and anyone who doesn't make it the way I make it, we're going to ban them out of the league.
No way, mate, because you make it. No way. The way you make tea, nah. Sorry, everybody. I know it seems really weird, but it was quite an interesting conversation we had right before we went into everything. So, yeah, very interesting. But I'm sorry, I'm just trying to bring up the fixtures and results from the other day. So
we're going to kick off with the results from the ENG Under-14s Northern Conference. Some really good competitive games on Saturday. Some teams picking up their first wins of the season. And here were the scores. So DNA took on Kingsway Power, 11-42 to Kingsway Power. Saddleworth took on Wire, a very depleted Wire team as well. So many injuries in that team. It's unbelievable. But Saddleworth got the job done, 30-27 win. Kingston against DNA. This was a bottom of the table clash between two teams who hadn't won a game yet this season, and DNA were the convincing winners in that one. Kingsway Power then took on Wire. Again, Wire from the previous round done a really good job at pushing Ellesmereport to the very final seconds, but with 3 or 4 or 5 of their first team players out, it was always going to be a difficult situation for them against Kingzo Power, and Kingzo Power won that game 55-16, keeping up their 100% winning record this season. Saddleworth then beat Kingston 38-19, not only securing their place in the league for next season, but getting their first back-to-back wins this season. So well done to Saddleworth. Ellesmereport versus Grangetown. We tipped this to be a really good competitive game. It was a fantastic game. Grangetown really did their homework against Ellesmereport, and we're speaking to Jess Wood, who was part of that Grangetown team, and they ran out convincing winners against Ellesmereport. Even though the score suggested it was quite one-sided, it wasn't. Ellesmereport did stay in the game for large periods, but Grangetown just broke them down slowly but surely throughout each quarter and got that win. Then Chevrons took on Chester, 44-9 win for Chester. South Ribble against Grangetown, 53-5. So it just shows you how good Grangetown are as a team. Ellesmereport then took on local rivals Chester. Chester, coming into this game, had a bit of success against Ellesmereport, beating them in a local league game and drawing in a regional game. So there was a bit of expectation on Chester to get the win in this one, and they couldn't do it. Ellesmereport, even though they had they had 7 players. I mean, one of their players I think got injured in the first game, so it's bit touch and go. If one of their players got injured, that could have spelled big trouble for him. But they grounded out the win. They just took their chances, and 28-23 win against Chester. So a big win.
Ellesmereport, mate. Ellesmereport. Never underestimate Ellesmereport. That's what I say.
But we definitely don't underestimate Ellesmereport. Then South Ribble took on Chevrons, and Chevrons got the 25-15 win, meaning I think Chevrons have now done enough to go and qualify. Well, not qualify, but they've done enough to stay in this league to next season. So for Chevrons, I think that's a big success for them, and a big well done to them. So well done, Chevrons. It's not an easy league to come into. It's some really good competitive teams here, and the reason they're in this league is because they want that level of competition, and I think they've done enough to stay in this league. So well done to Chevrons in particular. And you got your second win of the season. So that concludes the scores for last week. But we're going to come back to last week because we're going to quickly zip over to this week's fixtures because we've got someone waiting. So we were going to do this second, but we're now going to quickly do this first because Brooke is a bit younger than Jess, so I think she needs to go first. But this week, it's a massive week. This is what the league is all about because we've got some really competitive games, this league will show its true colours this week in regards to who's going to potentially win it, who's going to qualify for the top 4, who's potentially going to go down. You're going to find a lot of it out this week. But the first game is Kingsway Power under 11s versus Saddleworth. Because it's Kingsway Power under 11s, you think Saddleworth will easily win that game. I know for a fact Saddleworth ain't going to be sitting there thinking that's going to be an easy game. They need to be on their game. They need to be ready, and they need to take that game seriously because they need to win it. And Kingsway Power, they're not going to lie down and just be beaten. So that should be a good game to start the day. Then we have Kingsway Power under 12s versus Leeds Athletic. So both of these teams haven't lost this season. They're both on, I think it's 12 points. Leeds have a better goal difference. So it is what it is. It's a clash of the Titans. It's who wants it more, who's going to focus more, who's going to be more disciplined. And that's the long and short of it. That game is all about temperament. It's all about mindset, and he who dares wins, and all that in that game.
He who dares wins, Rodney. Yep, like that.
Wire. Then straight after that, it's going to be quite intense on Saturday. We've got Wire versus Saddleworth. Now, Saddleworth, if they win their first game, they're going to be buzzing, and they're going to be They literally will have 1 foot in the grand finals, but they're playing against a Wire team who also want to qualify for the grand finals. Both of these teams are equally as good as each other. And again, it's going to come down to kind of who makes more mistakes, who misses the pivotal shots, who gets the luck of the umpire decisions. All those little things will play a massive part in this game because it's going to be quite evenly matched. One thing they cannot do is kind of start slow. I think that's a big thing this weekend for all the teams. Don't start slow. Warm up as if you're playing a game. Feel like you're sweating. Feel like you've run a marathon, in a sense, because you need to be ready for that opening second or opening minute of the game. Watch a Mike Tyson walk out, because when Mike Tyson did his boxing, he always walked out like he had just had a fight, because he needed to be ready for the fight. He needed to feel like he was in fight mode. So I think teams this week, they definitely need to be in fight mode before the game starts, type of thing. So Wire Saddleworth, big game. That could potentially decide who goes into the top 4. It's going to be a massive game. Then straight after that, we've got Leeds taking on Oldham. Now, if Leeds get through the Kingsway Power game, this could potentially be a championship game for Leeds.
I think so.
So, ideally, for entertainment value, we wouldn't mind a bit of that. But if Leeds lose to Kingsway Power, then I don't know whether that put more pressure on them to win this game, or it'd be a case of nothing to lose type of mentality. But regardless whether they win or lose, they're 2 big games for Leeds, and even if they lose one and win one, they still can win the league, because Oldham have got to play Kingsway Power at the end of the season. So depending on who Leeds beat, if they beat them, they could still have a pop at winning the title. So 2 massive games for Leeds. Even if they lose both, for me, they've still qualified for the grand finals because of their points, because of their goal difference.
Yeah,
and it's still been a good season. It's still been a good season for Leeds.
They've made it through, haven't they? It's the same as Kingsway Power. So yeah, they're there.
It's just their goal difference. Their goal difference gives them that extra point, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's some score. Those goal difference, 140, 157 for Oldham and Leeds is it's good going.
Yeah, it's going to be. I just again with Leeds, I think this week they can do it. They can put off one of the biggest shocks my company has ever seen in regards to the underdog type of scenario. But they've got to be so focused that the margin of error is so low. It's beyond the joke. But if they focus, they're disciplined, and they've trained hard for it, I can't see why they can't potentially go and win this league this week. Then after that, it calms down slightly.
Hang on. And before you say that, people comment. Let us know. Get involved. Let us know. Put in the comments. We'll bring it up on the screen as well. Do you agree with what Richard's saying? Because this is massive stuff. This is championship material. This is. Come on. I want to see it light up like a Christmas tree. Sorry. Carry on, Richard.
Well, after that, the Leeds Oldham game, it calms down slightly. This is Chester's under 11s team. They're playing wire. They're in this league just to get the experience because I believe they're coming in next season as an under 12s team. So Wire will probably win that game. But Wire have to treat it not as a game they expected to win, but a game where they need to get their goal difference up because that might determine who qualifies for the Nationals as well.
Oh,
so
good point. Yeah.
For me, Wire have to take that game really seriously because if it comes down to goal difference, they need to get those goals in.
Because Saddleworth's on 39 and Wire's on -13. So yeah, they do need to bring that up, don't they? Because
massively, 100%. If they beat Saddleworth and they beat Chester, but they're going to have to beat Chester well, then going into the final game of the season, there's a bit less pressure on them. What they probably don't want to do is not qualify because of goal difference. That would be quite a hard one to accept.
Do you know, I put that down to like losing on eBay by a penny. That's what I would say that is. That's without a doubt. Without a doubt. Come on, 100%. Get those goals.
Well, and after Chester Wire, you've got Ellesmereport versus Chester's under 12s team. Big game, both teams on 2 points. So it's a relegation battle between two local rivals, and it should be a superb game. It's a brilliant game. I know they're going to be passionate. It's going to be a lot of passion in the room. Both teams are going to be determined to win, and that should be a good one to watch. And finally, to end the day, Chester B versus Chester. Again, Chester. It's an under 12s versus under 11s. Chester under 12s will probably win that one. But again, maybe goal difference might determine who goes down. So make sure you don't go down because of that reason. Because if Ellesmereport win and Chester win against Chester B, then they all have 4 points. Then Kingsway Power, I think they play Ellesmereport at the final game of the season in Grangetown. So they will want to stay in the league next season as well. So it's going to be an interesting afternoon. But we're going to speak to someone who's going to be involved in this amazing Saturday of netball, and it's going to be Saddleworth's captain, Brooke. So,
hello, Brooke.
Hi, Richard.
Hi. How
I am.
Brooke?
Fine.
How are you, Brooke?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, me and Martin are amazing, aren't we, Martin?
Yes, we are. And you can call me Smiler, Richard. Fine.
Yeah. FBL Smiler. But Brooke, you're involved in this big weekend of big Saturday of netball. You've got before we start but talk about your games, how's the season gone for you so far? So you're involved in not only the under 12s, you're involved in the under 13s. So you're in high demand as a player. So on an under 12s perspective, are you where you deserve to be? Do you feel you've done well this season so far? Do you feel you've let you down? Your team haven't done as well as they should have done this season. Let us know your thoughts.
I think we've done pretty well this season. I feel like we've all went in and we've all tried really hard for every single game. I think we could have done a few things better, like minimise the mistakes we've made when we get a bit tired. But other than that, I think we've done really well.
Your first game against Leeds, does that kind of still play on your mind a bit? Because you were doing well in that game and Leeds come back to win it. But potentially, if you'd have won that game, we wouldn't be talking about you coming top 4. We'll be talking about whether you could come second or third or whatever. Do you feel that game, losing that game at the start of the season, was a game that you potentially should have won?
I feel like we could have won it, but we've played Leeds, who are a really good side, in other leagues, and it's always been really close between us both. Like they'd win one and we'd win one, and it's been very even. So I feel like we all went out and tried hard, but we just made a few too many mistakes, and I feel like we could have done a bit better in that game, but we all tried really hard. So.
And when you played Kingsway Power, you had them on the ropes for a long periods of time in that game, didn't you? It wasn't, they for the first time this season, I thought Kingsway Power they were kind of looking like they could potentially be beaten. And if it wasn't for their shooter Daisy, who hit 100% accuracy on the day with her shots, it could have swung round your way. And that's how good they had to be to beat you. Again, frustrating, or were you just happy with how your team approached that game?
It was a bit frustrating that we didn't win because we've been winning throughout the match, but I was really pleased with how we all performed because we were fighting until the very last minute, and we all worked really, really hard to get that close to beating them. It's just a shame we didn't end up with the win at the end. But yeah.
Yeah, well, to shoot 100, because Martin, in that game between Kingsway Power and Saddleworth, Kingsway Power's shooter Daisy, she hit 100% accuracy. So every shot she took throughout the game never missed.
Yeah. That's something.
And this is what. No, but imagine if she missed 1, 2, 3 of those shots, it could have swung round to Saddleworth's advantage. But this is the difference we talk about when you play against these types of teams. It's the margin of error. So
yeah,
no.
So Brooke, you also mentioned about getting tired. So that's an interesting one. So you're not doing enough physical activity to, is that something that you're concentrating on? Because if you're saying you're tired because the work rate out there's so much, is that something that you thought about then?
Well, no, because we all do quite a lot of training, and we've all been working really hard at our training to prepare for the matches. But I think it's just when we've played such high intensity games that sometimes we just do a few silly mistakes under the pressure in a way, but then we just need to work on now not making those mistakes.
That's interesting. So you're saying with a combination of feeling tired, there is also the pressure of playing obviously a team so intense as well. So
mental exhaustion.
Yeah, I got that with the live stream we'll talk about later on Sunday. But so is it going forward? Is it something that you're concentrating on in training?
Well, we've not really. We've just been working really hard in training, extra hard, to make sure that we all know what we're supposed to do, and we all know how hard we have to play and stuff, and making.
And you've got to play hard, haven't you? You've got to play hard because it's not an easy league, is it? It's not like these county leagues. This is hard stuff. I can see this as, we all know I'm no athlete, but you could all say no, Martin. You're not that bad. Thanks, guys. Anyway, but it's really intense. I see it a lot. When I'm obviously on that screen watching all these games happen. So. Yeah, very interesting. Sorry, Richard.
Yeah, Brooke,
continue.
To say, Brooke, before we move on to your games, give us an insight into because the league is so out there and there's a lot of exposure. What's it like for a 12-year-old to play in this type of league?
Well, it's really good. It's a really good experience because you've got loads of people watching things, and it's really good and it's exciting. Sometimes you get a bit nervous, but when it comes to big matches, you get nervous anyway.
Are you nervous because it's been live streamed, or it's nervous because you're playing against a certain team, or you've got to have an interview with Richard afterwards? What is it?
Probably like nerves because like you want to win and you know that you have to win to hit the spot in the finals.
Hey Brooke, when you're building up to these big games and there's a kind of a big promotion behind, because you get emails being sent out, there's stuff on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, you have shows like this. Does that make your training and preparation more exciting, knowing that there's a lot of people knowing what's happening?
Yeah, we're more like determined at training, so like I don't know, like try and talk to each other and be like, yes, we can do this, girls, and like have a pep talk within the team and things to get us excited.
Here's another.
Well,
do you watch the live streams? Do you go back and watch the games prior to this and see how the others have played? It's a question I always ask. This one.
We go back and watch like some of our own games, and we'll watch like the ones that we're really interested in, but we don't watch all of them.
No, but you watch like forthcoming teams you're playing against and seeing if there's any holes in their play so that you can take advantage of. Is that the sort of thing?
Sometimes. But like not always.
Okay.
Well, Brooke, you've got Kingsway Power under 11s and you've got Wire. So expectations on Saturday. What are you hoping from these two games, and what is your expectations from these teams? Let's start with Kingsway Power under 11s. Do you reckon that's going to be a straightforward win, or is that going to be a difficult day at the office?
I feel like on paper we feel like we should beat them, but you should never underestimate a Kingsway Power team. We're just going to go in and give 110% effort, and we're just going to play our hardest and hopefully come out with the win.
Do you feel more nervous? Well, did you feel more nervous playing at under 11s team? Because when I played football and when I played for a professional club, and you'd play a semi-professional club, I always felt more nervous playing a semi-professional club compared to a professional club, because I just felt I was under more pressure to perform because I was classed as a better player because I was at a different level. When you're playing against the under 11s Kingsway Power teams, you just feel, oh my, there's an opportunity there for them to show us up. So does that make you a little bit more nervous, or does that make you more confident you can get the win because they are an under 11s team?
I would say like it'll make us more confident that we should be able to get the win, but then again, like it makes us feel a little bit nervous because like we know that they are under 11s and like really we think that we should beat them, but it might not go that way. But we're hoping to come out with the win.
Well, to be honest, I think you will come out of the win, but like you said, Kingsway Power are not a team you're gonna underestimate. So I know you're the captain of your team, so make sure none of your players are having a 50% day type of thing, because that could blow up in your faces if you do. But the big game.
What's the score? What do you reckon the score is going to be? That's what I want to know. Go on, Brooke. Tell us, what do you think?
I actually don't know.
She's not full. She's seen too many predictions go wrong.
This is what I love about the predictions. You can come on the show. Come on, give us a prediction. How many do you think you'll win by? How's that?
I actually don't know. I don't want to jinx us or anything.
Yeah, good girl, Brooke. Don't do it, Brooke.
All right then, fair enough. I'll back off.
So you've got Wire net. You've got your Wire. So we expect you to win that first game. You've got Wire, your second game. This is a massive game because both teams are fighting for the top four. Have you played Wire often?
No, actually, we've never actually played them. So we can only go off like the previous scores in leagues and the ENG league. But like I said about the Kingsway Power game, we've been training for this, like, and we've all been putting in the effort, and we're going to go in and everyone's going to give 110%, and we're going to try and like turn over as much ball as we can, and hopefully take it to goal and minimise the mistakes and hope for the win. But I think it'll be a challenging match, but we're up for the challenge.
Well, Brooke, when Kingsway Power played Wire, they beat them 50-21. When you played Kingsway Power, you beat them. They beat you 30-25. Now, if I was a betting man, which I am, and I looked at those two scores, I would be thinking Saddleworth seemed like the better team because they put up a better performance against Kingsway Power. Because if that's how you want to analyse it, do you think that is that something you look at as a team and think, well, hold on a minute, we got to within 5 points of Kingsway Power. They were, I don't know, 29 points away or whatever. Do you reckon that has any reflection on both teams' kind of skill level, or do you not really pay attention to that sort of stuff?
Well, we do pay attention to it, and like all of us, like as a squad, will be like, oh well, we've come within 5 of Kingsway Power, so that's pretty good. But then again, like, you shouldn't underestimate teams, because we don't want to go in thinking that we're going to win. We will go in like with a positive mentality, like, we want to win this, girls. We can do this, but we won't underestimate them because then that might go wrong. So we just go into the match like it's any other match, but just like with extra effort.
And I don't know if you know this, but Wire beat like Oldham in a I think in a local league, or I don't know whether they call it the Berry League or whatever. So again, even though their performance wasn't as good as yours against Kingsway Power, they have a history of beating teams like, I think they drew against Leeds. I think they've beaten Oldham. So again, they come into this with good pedigree. What part of the court have you identified? Any part of the court that that they're strong, or have you looked at the live stream to watch their games, or is it just about how what your focus is? Are you focusing more on yourself as a team and how and your plays and tactics and stuff like that?
Well, there's a girl who I've played with before called Sadie, and she's a really good goal attack who's on Wire. So I think their attack will be quite strong. But then, other than that, I've not played them. So I think for us, it just comes down to playing our hardest and making sure that we all try our best and like minimise the mistakes, take every interception to goal, and use all our centre passes.
And it's all about just making sure you start well and you maintain good consistency throughout the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting. And yeah, I know you believe you're going to get the 2 wins, because you wouldn't be a competitor if you didn't. So I'm not going to ask you what you think the outcome's going to be, because I can imagine you believe you're going to win both games. But before you go, you can't compete for the top of the table. But if you were to predict who would win out of Kingsway Power and Oldham, who would it be? Or Leeds? Actually, Leeds as well. What am I doing? Like, sorry, Leeds. If you're watching this, Leeds, I'm so sorry. Leeds, Oldham, or Kingsway Power, who's going to win this league?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm not too sure. They're all like very good teams that shouldn't be underestimated, and I feel like they're all very determined, because I've met quite a lot of them. It's almost too close for me to call.
Come on, make a call, Brooke.
Give us one, Brooke.
Come on, Brooke.
I honestly can't.
Come on. Choose one. Just choose one.
I actually really don't know.
Hang on. I'll tell you what we'll do, Brooke. But we'll flip this back. This is one of these great things you do. Richard, who do you think is going to win?
The league.
Yeah.
I say Oldham.
Ooh. Well, I'm going to go with Leeds. There we go. We're going to go with Brooke.
Kingsway.
You do. There you go. All three of us. First,
Well, Brooke, I want to wish you the best of luck for this weekend. I'm sure watching you play is brilliant. You're just an amazing netballer. What Brooke brings to the court is just the passion, the enthusiasm, the competitive spirit. And before the technical side, you need the mental side. And Brooke, you've definitely got that in abundance. So we'll see you Saturday. 2 massive games. And if you're thinking about watching the game live on the FBL, just tune in for Brooke. She's just amazing to watch. So this is the future of netball right here. So Brooke, we're going to get thousands tuning in to watch you now. So make sure you play well.
Millions. There you go.
Have a good evening, Brooke.
Thank you, Brooke.
Too. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool.
Let's quickly talk about the live stream, actually, mate. Because on the last 2 Sundays we've had issues. I can tell everybody out there that I literally use every ounce of my energy to make sure that a live stream goes ahead. And on Sunday at High Wycombe, again, if it doesn't work, we give a refund anyway. We don't even expect people to put a request in. We actually just do it. I'm really annoyed because we had 4 out of 5 bars, but we only had like less than 0.2 meg. And you know me, you know how I work, you know how long I've been supporting ENG and active gamers and stuff. This is just ludicrous that these mobile networks are what they're doing. But please rest assured, people, if we will do our best to make sure that a broadcast goes out, and not to worry if it doesn't happen. We'll try and get it quickly up on the website with the recordings. But Richard, you saw how crazy it was on Sunday. The weather as well. It was just
it's terrible.
I was out in the car park. Well, not car park, but out the back. The rain, the wind, and everything. Just trying to. I'm like, well, I can't get any more bars. I can't do anything. And I'm still going through this wonderful. Whenever there's an issue, I always end up doing a resolution or trying to find out what went wrong. How can we make sure it doesn't happen again, or minimize any issues? And there was nothing else I could have done. Because obviously, if there's an issue with like data, I think one of the main things I've learned is, just set the equipment up, get it done, and don't worry about the data until you have to. Because we had some issues with the cameras as well with the recordings. But it's one of those things where you saw me on the day on Sunday, I was at my wit's end. I didn't, there was nothing more I could do. I had this gentleman come up to me and go, your live stream's not working, mate. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I actually showed him. I said, look, I've got 4 out of 5 bars, mate. I'm running a speed test. I've got people communicating as well. So, through the orange box. Can't say this enough. The orange box on the website, communicate through there. It's definitely the best way. Don't send emails. Communicate through there, because that comes straight to us and I can see what, we can reply back. But we spend most of our time trying to fix the issue before we reply to people in the chat, because I'm not being funny. It's great that you let us know there's a problem, there's an issue, there's a sound or the visual or camera one. Love all that, because we look at it and go, well, what's going on there? But when we come to certain issues, before we start replying in the chat, we try to fix the issue so that it gets sorted, because that's the most important. Make sure you get a broadcast, make sure you can watch the game, because we all know the main reason you're on the broadcast or on the live stream is to see the game being played. What would you say to that, Richard?
Mate, look, I know how hard you work. I know how frustrating it is, but it's like things in life. It's one of those things that you feel like you're letting people down. You feel like you're letting customers down. But there's genuinely I run a business where technology was involved, and once technology starts not working for you, there's nothing you can do. You have to sit back and you just have to accept that it's just not your day at the office. Unfortunately,
do you know what? I can't sit back. I have to keep on trying different things, start trying to get even get one court out. It's like I will try and get what I can and squeeze that sponge even more to get that little bit of water out. I just keep doing it. It's just like, right, let's just at least get one court out. I mean, somebody put on the chat, well, I can see court B's up. It's like, yeah, because what I'm doing is I'm killing one to the other one dies, so I'll try and bring one up. So at least that goes on. I'll keep on testing the bandwidth, and then I'll bring up the other one. You know, it's a mad thing, but you know, the technology was working. It was the network providers. It's just I've got two different network providers we use, and I mean, look where we are on Saturday. I'm out out by the fire exit because it's like that's the best place for data. You know, I've got a very expensive route that we've been in that room where nobody can get the internet, and you're like, how are you live streaming? And it's like, if I told you that, I'd have to kill you, because it is, experience and knowledge and the building, what materials and where the masts are. There's a lot that goes into, actually, especially in the areas and the venues that we attend, in getting a broadcast to work. Or it's mad. But again, like you say about the tech, and when the tech does go wrong, and you've also got the data issues, and you're trying to reply to people, quite crazy. But like I say, we will always, if a broadcast goes, we'll always give you the refund, because it for me as a business owner, I can tell you right now, and if you don't mind, people, tell other people as well, because you've been watching the Youth Premiership League, and what would you say the up rate? 99%, if not 100, I would say, that we broadcast.
Yeah.
Different venues, different areas, 4 different locations, and we've got it down pretty much, 99, 98%, I would say. So, yeah, just tell people, if they say, look, they work hard, they get it done, and if they couldn't get it to broadcast, then it was, unless it's like Sky with their own satellite truck, which makes me, Richard, get this, and to the people out there, let's know in the comments as well.
I understand we've got to get Jess in. She's probably wanting to go to bed.
Sorry, Jess. I'm sorry. I'll bring her in now. Shall I bring her in now?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jess. I was going off on one. Richard's right to stop me because I'm. Yeah.
Jess.
Hello,
Jess is like, poor girl's falling asleep there listening to live stream issues.
Sorry.
Look, the poor girl's half asleep, but we've got.
So is everybody out there as well?
Grangetown. You've just killed off the whole country, mate.
I have. I can see the numbers dropping, mate. It's like, sorry, guys. Sorry, Jess. Sorry.
But we've got Grangetown superstar, Jess Wood. Hi, Jess. How's things?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We're very good. My iPad is slowly dying, but never mind. But, Jess, we've got you in today because you were part of the the Grangetown side that had a massive game on Saturday against Ellesmereport. It was a 31-22 win. We did an interview afterwards and we talked about why you were successful. But for me, and I've said this many a times, I've said to your coaches and I've said to you as players, there's got to be a point where Grangetown kind of breaks through that kind of door where you're kind of accepted as one of the best teams in the country type of thing, because you always seem to fall short against these top teams. But on Saturday, there was Martin, that camera view is amazing, by the way. But
don't start people off, because that might have to be a premium.
You proved that you are one of the top teams. And how satisfying was it for you to get that win against Ellesmereport?
Oh yeah, it was definitely amazing, and like all of our hard work paid off.
Like going into that game, I know there was a bit of history because you were defeated against them in a competition in Manchester. What was the focus in terms of the tactics going into that game?
I think we just needed to stick to our play and not let anything affect how we played, and then we eventually worked to break their play down, which gave us the win.
Last season you were missing a lot of your defence, which was one of the reasons why you wasn't as successful as you have been this season. Was defence the most important part of the game against Ellesmereport?
Well, that's what we've previously been focusing on in training sessions. And I definitely think we were practicing defending throughout the whole court. So right from the shooters all the way through to keeper, we were making sure that we were defending and trying our very best to win the ball back.
And how do you so the attack to the defenders. What just give us an idea of how you kind of embed a strategy from top to bottom. What is it they're doing? I know when I played football, you'd angle your body at a certain way to kind of stop someone going a certain way. What is it everyone has to do in order to be successful when they're defending?
Well, ideally, you want to force them as far away from the ball and as wide of the ball as possible. So in our game, we try to give straight and square options. So we have multiple options, and then the player can assess where the best option is. So we try to eliminate as many options as we can, forcing the ball into an area where they wouldn't really want to pass it.
So ideally, you want them in wide areas.
Yeah, well, if they have the centre of the court, then they have two options either side. Whereas if they're in the right channel, they only have the centre and that channel.
Okay. And for me, you did that superbly because Ellesmereport moved the ball so quick down the court that it was the first time in a long time I've seen an Ellesmereport side kind of struggle a bit to find the right passes. Did you sense that during the game? Did you feel, hold on, we've got this type of thing from a defensive point of view? Did you feel that as yourself?
Yeah, I think, I'm quite vocal on the court, and I think that needs to happen. So once we get that lift, we just need to keep that going throughout the game. And once I realised that they were struggling to pass, we just fed off of that almost and improved it even more and took it that step further.
And so what part of the game did you feel, hold on a minute, because I remember when I played sport, you just know that the pendulum is swinging in your favour. At what point in the game did you think, we've got this today and we're going to get this win?
To be honest, when you're facing a team like Ellesmereport, there is no point where you're fully confident that you're going to win the game. You've just got to keep fighting right until the very end. But you kind of get a sense after the third quarter where you stand. Yeah.
And so how is it? So as defenders, you're all doing your job. Does that pile more pressure on your attackers to do their job?
I think we trust each other a lot more. So we know that if we get a turnover, the attacker are going to try their very best to execute a shot out of our turnovers. And the same, whereas if they take a shot and they score an amazing shot, we then have to do our part.
I've got to say, your shooter has improved massively in terms of her consistency shooting. Am I right in saying that? Because she seems a lot more confident. She seems a lot more ruthless when she shoots now compared to last season. Has she been working really hard and getting her statistics up and managing to stay more consistent?
Yeah, well, her and all of our players work exceptionally hard in training sessions, and then this is how we get wins. But her improvement has been massive, and she just needs to have that confidence because she's an amazing shooter. But once she gets that confidence, she's incredible.
Yeah, well, I think shooting is definitely a confidence thing because I can imagine if once you've missed a couple, it just goes the other way, doesn't it? But once you get a couple in, I can imagine you feel like you can take on the world type of thing. So you beat Ellesmereport. You had a very very easy, I would say easy win against South Ribble. So you've left yourself in second place in the table. You're drawn on points with Kingsway Power, but you have played a game more. How frustrating is it that when you did play Kingsway Power, you just didn't have your full team?
Yeah, I mean, it's always really quite frustrating when you don't have a full squad when you're playing a team like Kingzo Power where you need as much advantage as you can. But it's just one of those things where we all tried our best. Whoever was on the court tried their absolute best. So that's all we can do, really.
And last two games of the season, you have Chester and you have Chevrons. Your goal difference is, I think you're just 18 points behind Kingsway Power. Do you feel you could win the next two games, but not only win the next two games, but kind of get a superior goal difference? Because you've still got a chance at winning the league. You've qualified for the grand finals. That's a certainty. But do you still feel, because Kingsway Power have Ellesmereport in the last game of the season, both teams are going to be well fired up for that one. So that could go either way. Is the focus now getting the next two wins, but an extra win will be getting your goal difference above Kingsway Powers?
Yeah, well, every game we go to win, and if we're winning, we try and win by as much as we can possible to give us the best advantage, because sometimes it can just go on goal difference, and if you miss one shot, then that can affect the whole table, really.
Can indeed.
And it can. And Chester, well, what do you think of Chester? Do you think they're going to pose you as many problems as Ellesmereport did, or do you think beating Ellesmereport by that much shows that Chester won't? What are you thinking when you come to that game? Are you thinking it's going to be an easier challenge, a harder one, or just you don't really look at games in that way?
Well, I've personally never played against Chester, so I'm unsure about their play, but we generally just focus on our play, and I unfortunately won't be there for the Chester match.
Oh, no.
That's really frustrating, but...
Where are you, Jess?
I'm on holiday, hopefully.
Cancel the holiday. Sorry, this is far more important. Can't have that. Can't be rich.
Why are you on holiday March the 19th, Jess? Come on. Where are you going, first of all?
Well, we're not playing Chester on March the 19th, actually. I think it's been rescheduled. Well, in my calendar anyway, it's due to be played on the 23rd of April. That's when it says we've got a Chester.
No, it's March the 19th. Your coach has penciled in 2 games on that day. So, Jess, the top
I'll be there
player.
on March the 19th. If there's a game on March the 19th, I should be there.
Yeah, March 19th. You're there. You are there,
Yeah,
Jess. You're there.
It's on the 23rd.
I'll tell you what's going to happen, Jess. We're going to come on next week. He's going to go, actually, I got it wrong. Actually, it has been rescheduled to April 23rd. Like, thanks, Rich.
No, Jess is definitely there on March the 19th. And yeah, so Chester, is that by beating Ellesmereport, does that kind of tell you're going to get a win against Chester?
Well, it definitely gives you that confidence boost. And I think if we go into the game with Chester at the same mentality we did with Ellesmereport, we should hopefully get a win.
So you reckon wins all the way through then? Wins all the way through. Right. Let's have a look at the table.
Well, that's the hope.
Hope is a dangerous thing, Jess. Hope is a dangerous thing.
Not if you're a Jedi. He's just giving that look. Martin, what are you saying?
Mate, you watch all that Star Wars stuff, don't you?
There you
but
go.
Last season, Chester, I don't think you were there, but they managed to. It looked like you were going to win the game, and Chester turned it round in the last quarter. So, yeah, I think Chester. That's going to be a tough game against you. Give us a prediction on where you will place once you've played all your games this season. Where are you thinking you're going to be?
Ideally, top 2 is where we would want to place.
Give one or two. Go on. What one are you going for? Where are you going to place, Jess?
Well, at the moment, on paper, Kingsway Power appear to be placing top, and as we've lost against them, that does give them that advantage, and they've still got a game to play. So it does appear that we'll be placing second should we beat Chester.
Well, second's still good because you get an ENG medal.
It's goal difference, though, isn't it? So really, what you should be pushing up your goal difference to try, depending on who Kingsway Power is playing as well. You've got a thing where, I was going to just do that. Let's duplicate. Let me scroll down. So who we got? March 19th. You've got
they're going to play. It isn't in there at the moment because we've just organised it. But Grangetown have Chevrons, and they're going to have Chester.
Right.
Kingston have got Kingsway Power, and Kingsway Power have got Chester. So, potentially Kingsway Power could get a big win there. I think if Kingsway Power get a big win against Kingston, I think the dream for Grangetown will be over in terms of beating Kingsway Power on goal difference, unless they get a ridiculous win against Chevrons. They're capable of it because they've got a talent. But Jess, I'm going to go with what you think. I'm actually going to say maybe not this season. Next season, you can give them a little challenge, but I think you're probably just going to get, even if Kingsway Power get beat against Ellesmereport, I think you'll get pipped to the post by goal difference. So I think your prediction is bang on, Jess. But Jess, before you go, what's it like to play in the league? Do you enjoy it? What's it about the league that's different from the rest of the leagues you compete in?
Well, it's an amazing opportunity to be in a league like this and to have it broadcast and all the publicity that goes along with it. And it's just that it creates a bit more excitement knowing that you can watch yourself again. Like afterwards, I analyze some of my games sometimes after I played, and that opportunity to do that is incredible, really. And having a league like this, it just adds something where you'll be playing against teams that will give you a run for your money, and you've got to try your absolute best in every match.
Cool. Just what I'd like to hear, Jess. So any teams out there who want to join this league, Jess has just given me the best.
Getinvolved.com.
It is just the best league. We've got the best players in the league as well. Like Jess, super, future England stars. So this is what this league is all about. So Jess, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Before you go, Jess, I like doing this to Richard just as he gives the wind up to finish. Do you show your family members the games that you're playing? Do you go, oh look at this pass, look how I defended this, and look how I did that? Do you do that?
Well, often one of my parents comes to watch me as they take me up. But occasionally, if I've done something that I'm proud of, I may, if I want to, show them it.
Do you snip it and put it on social media as well? Do you do stuff like that? Okay. I just thought I'd ask that. Somebody come up and asked me the other day, and they were like, "Oh, I did this." I was like, "Fine, no problem." But yeah, okay, just interested. That's good. Do you watch it on the way home?
Sometimes, or when I get home, I'll watch my game. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. On the way home, or when you go home. Okay, cool. Sorry, Richard, you may continue.
No, well, Jess, thank you for joining us. You're lucky because we've got 1% left on my iPad. So we'll see you again on March the 19th. 2 more games to go. And hopefully, fingers crossed, if you get big enough wins and Kingsway Power slip up, you could be the champions. But I'm going to go with your prediction and say that you'll probably come second this season. So thank you very much, Jess. And we'll see you again on March the 19th.
Bye, Jess.
Bye.
Excellent. Brilliant.
So Martin, I'm about to go dead.
Yeah, I know you are.
So if I go dead, I'm going to flick onto the laptop
Close the
quickly.
stream down, yeah. Oh, okay.
But if we go back to the under 12s Northern Lit conference,
yeah, okay, on that now, mate.
and we'll just do a recap on so big games this week. So we spoke to Brooke. Saddleworth can't take Kingsway Power under 11s lightly at all. So those Saddleworth girls need to make sure that they act as professionally as possible. But the big one is Kingsway Power under 12s versus Leeds. What makes me think Leeds can do this is because of how uncomfortable Saddleworth made Kingsway Power.
Okay. But
like I said, Kingsway Power won that game because their shooter hit 100%, and that's the type of animal you're going up against. You're going up against a team that don't make a lot of mistakes. They're ruthless, they're disciplined, but if Leeds can match that and unsettle them, we could be in for a couple of shocks here on Saturday because it's all about how they start as well. Leeds have to start well. If they can go into the first quarter a couple of points up and continue that run going into the second, third quarter, their confidence will grow, and they'll put Kingsway Power in a situation that they're rarely. The thing about Kingsway Power and Oldham is that they're rarely in situations which they feel uncomfortable or they feel under pressure because they get such big leads going into games. So if Leeds can put them in the place where they don't like being, they're going to have to handle something they don't normally have to handle as a team. So the inexperience of doing that might be to their detriment. So that's what Leeds need to do, and that's the same against Oldham. They need to put them in a place where they don't want to be in terms of the pressure, in terms of creating as much anxiety as possible within the opposition. And if they can do that, they need to then go for the kill type of thing. They need to get stronger. They need to be more determined than ever, because you cannot let Oldham or Kingsway Power into the game. If you get turnovers, make the most of them. That's going to be so important. If Leeds get a turnover, they have to execute. They have to score the turnovers. There's no, we can make mistakes. They have to maximise those opportunities. But in terms of prediction, I don't know. Like, I think Leeds can do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be a hard one. It's just the discipline, Oldham and Kingsway. It's just how they start games really worries me, because if you allow these teams to start well, I'm not.
It gives them momentum, doesn't it? It gives them momentum, Yeah.
But you give them confidence, and that's the worst thing you can do with teams like Kingsway Power and Oldham. Once they get their confidence levels up, because they're the type of teams, if they smell fear, that's where they're at their best. So Leeds, I'm not going to make no predictions on this one. All I'm going to say is Leeds start well, put them in a place where they're as uncomfortable as possible, give it your all, be disciplined, maximize their mistakes, and I think you can do this. I really do think they can do it. They're going to need a good support network behind them, but they're playing against two superb teams who know how to win netball games. So the opportunity's there, Leeds. If you do it, the world will know that Leeds Athletic created one of the biggest upsets in ENG history, and you've got the Leeds. You have the opportunity to win the league this week.
Oh, we lost him just at that moment when he was getting into full. Oh, look, he's back up. Here he is. He's back.
Yeah. So, I hate this camera. So yeah, Leeds, you have the opportunity to win the league this week. You don't need much more motivation than that. So good luck, but also good luck to Oldham and Kingsway Power, who are superb teams. It's been a joy watching all these three teams this season, and this is what they come into the league for. This is why they love their sport, to be involved in games like this, and they're competitors, and this is what competition is all about. But the other big game is Saddleworth Wire. I'm going to go with a Saddleworth win here, just because of their performance against Kingsway Power. I know there's many reasons why Wire didn't have as good of a score against Kingsway Power. It could be injuries or isolations at the time or whatever. But the way Saddleworth played against Kingsway Power showed me that they're not far away from the big teams. They can compete against the best teams. And just how I left them the last round, I just think if they bring that type of performance, it just might be a little bit too much for Wire. But Wire have good pedigree. They've played against Leeds and they've played against Oldham. I think they've been victorious against Oldham. I think they might have drawn against Grangetown or Leeds. I'm not sure, but they have previous experience in beating these teams as well. So that's going to be a fantastic game between two fantastic teams. So again, if you can't be there, make sure you watch it online. If you're in the south, watch it, because you might be playing these teams in the grand final. So Wire Saddleworth, superb game. Then the next big game is going to be Ellesmereport Chester. The reason I like this game is because they are rivals. They are, they desperately want to beat each other, and it's going to be a good old scrap, to be honest. Two good teams, passionate teams, competitive teams, fighting for something else, fighting for survival in the league, so they can come back next season and try and improve. But again, this is like the opposite to what we're experiencing in the morning. It's wanting to stay in a league like this, and hopefully their enthusiasm for this league will be brought to the court. And it should be a good one. It should be nice and loud in there.
So this weekend we've got literally fighting all over the table, fighting for the top, fighting for the middle, fighting for the not to be relegated.
Yeah. It's going to be, because don't forget, if Oldham win or Kingsway Power win, they guarantee they even though they will get to the grand finals, they guarantee it. So they will qualify for the grand finals. If Leeds get one win, they will qualify for the grand finals. So the top three potentially could leave us on Saturday qualified for the grand finals. It all depends also on what happens with Saddleworth and why they might not have to win some of them. They might just qualify based on other results that are happening. But any wins for Kingsway, Leeds, or Oldham guarantees their passage to the grand finals on April the 30th.
There we go.
So, mate, great Saturday ahead. And if you can't be there, make sure you watch it live. Should be a great watch.
Definitely.
And putting these kids on this type of platform is what it's all about. It's giving them the spotlight to shine, to showcase, what youth sport is all about, competitive youth sport is all about. And all we're doing is celebrating competition, because how many times, last 10 years, competition has been devalued massively. It's demonized. It's kind of put to the back burner, because the reason why people demonize it or put it to the back burner is because they're not confident enough to teach it.
Yeah.
And I've
We talk about this a lot.
I've got my headphones in an iPad and I'm talking.
It's all right. We can hear you perfectly. It's fine.
Hold on. Here you go. So it's, again, can you hear me now, Martin?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. You couldn't hear me though, could you? That's why you had to put the headphones in.
No, I could hear you. I could hear you.
Okay. But this is something we talk about, isn't it? About competition. I love competition. I love no matter what I play at, I want to be the best. And and it's not bragging. It's like, yeah, I done well. I did this, I did that. But there is this thing where, you're not really allowed to, it's kind of like suppressing it, isn't it? But this is what I love about the ENG league. It's like, be proud. This is a hard league to be part of, and to win this as well is major. So,
it's again, it comes down to education. The reason why people don't want to teach competition is because one, they think it's going to alienate kids when it won't. All it will do is give them a more discipline. It will give them more durability. It will give them a sense of where they're at, so they won't feel patronized. And it will inspire them, because when you see someone you want to kind of compete against, you naturally will do the training, or you naturally do the due diligence to try and get to their level. Now, if you don't get to their level, it doesn't matter, because you will reach your full potential trying to get to their level. And that's what it's all about. But I worked in schools for many years with my previous business, and we went in there with the same philosophy. We're going to come here and we're going to give the kids a proper education. We're going to give them a proper club. We're not going to do the babysitting. We're going to come here and we're going to give them a real education in competitive sport. And it was just frightening to see how undurable these kids were. But over time, when you kept throwing them into that environment,
I've witnessed this. I've witnessed it, mate.
No, but the losing was, instead of crying or whinging or kind of getting upset when they lost, they turned it into a positive. They thought, how can I reach that person's potential? How can I improve as a person or as an athlete? And it was simple mechanisms, but they were effective, because the people educating the kids had come from that background. And they weren't afraid, because me and my brother had been through that for years growing up, chasing contracts and winning games, losing games, him getting called up for international games. I didn't get called up for international games. I got called up for first team games. He didn't get called up for first team games. So it was a process that we had been through, which we understood. And it was good to educate kids on that. And this league and ENG as a concept, which is all about mindset. The reason why we call it earned, not given, is because if you want the glitzy medal and you want the limelight, the opportunity's there, the trips, you've got to earn it. You've got to earn it. And if you're getting fed up of seeing the same old teams win the even though we have a lot of teams win our events, we if you look at the history of our competitions, we have a good spread of teams winning our competitions. But if you're fed up of seeing the same old, do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't
put the hard work in. Definitely.
Put the work in. What can you do to bridge that gap between you and them? And you will always find there's not a lot in it. There's not a lot in it.
Those little tweaks mean a lot.
That's a scary thing, Martin. The scary thing is you think you're a million miles away, but you're not. You're a couple of 1 or 2 steps away. But
we had this chat about, because I'm a Formula One fan. We've had this chat, people out there. Put it in the comments. Tell us what you think as well. I was telling you why I love Formula One, because you see the way I work and all the equipment I do and everything. What I love about Formula One, it's not just the driver. I mean, we are talking that they look at every single aspect of a race, and that even before a tire even touches the tarmac. We're talking about, pit stops, raising the lollipop, or what if we put lights in? Will that save us 0.2 milliseconds? You know what I mean? They literally go down to the littlest of bits, because that, believe it or not, when you add all those things up, it's actually quite a lot of time you're saving. And we talked about, for instance, in some of our other conversations, the fuel load. They work out like how many times the safety car will come out, or how many times there was a yellow flag, so that they know by, I think it's every lap of fuel is like 0.2 seconds saving. So you can imagine if they're working things out like that, that's how minute you got to look at things. You can't, if you want to be the best and be with the best, you got to look at every single little bit and see how you can improve. I do it even in my live streaming, everything, I've had difficulties, and I think, what can I do to make that not happen again? How can I improve? What can I do? And then sometimes you can't do anything. Like, take, for instance, if you've got your players, some of the players on your team, they may not be, for instance, at 100%. You can't do nothing about them. You can encourage them, you can do it, but they also have to do what you're going to do, is put more than 100% in. Find, tweak, make yourself 100%.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
No. You're spot on. You're spot on. And the Formula One thing is a good thing. It's, again, a lot of the time you're dealing with small, minute improvements. And if you can perfect the small things, then I always say the big things look after themselves. And that's what we're talking on Saturday with Leeds. It's the turnovers and executing the turn. Once they turn a ball off from Kingsway Power, it's executing the turnover. If they go 2 or 3 points down, mentality has got to be right. They've still got to stay focused and disciplined, because it's quite easy to throw your head down. I've been in that situation a million times before. You throw your head down, you get smashed, and you think to yourself, what purpose did that serve? Because I'd rather, you just think, why did I do that? I could, there's a certain way to lose. There's still a win within the loss to a certain extent. It's got, the mentality's got, but for me, the mentality is everything. If Leeds come into them games with the right mentality, the right level of competitive spirit, I think we could see a potential shock on the cards.
So like Leicester City, is that what you're sort of saying?
I'm saying that's exactly what I'm saying, Mark. I'm saying that it's going to be a Leicester City type of scenario where the expectation is Kingsway Power and Oldham will get the wins. But I've got a funny feeling Leeds, and I think they're enjoying the platform as well. I think this platform is doing a great job for them in terms of getting them motivated for these games. I think, and I know they've got good coaching networks behind them. They've got experienced coaches behind them. So I know for a fact they've been doing their homework. So good luck, Leeds. I'm also going to say good luck to Kingsway Power and Oldham, three fantastic teams. Going head to head, and this is what you play sport for. This is what you play competition sport for. And luckily for you, you've got the couple of people behind it who are not only publicising what's happening, but showing everyone what is actually happening on the court. So
and investing in showing it. Look at that. You know, I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe that this is just amazing. Just the whole. I mean, these three teams alone just fighting at the top. It's, you know, let's make it even. Do you know what? I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like, wow. Just, I mean, Sky, BBC, and that lot, they'd pay millions, mate. They should be phoning you up, going, "This is. Oh, how can we get? Can we get rights to this?"
It should do, yeah. But
no, hang on, no, don't do that, because that means you get rid of me.
Precisely. But Martin, thank you for tonight. For everyone who watched, thank you for listening. Remember, come and support the teams. If you can't support, watch online. Support the teams from online. But it should be a great day Saturday. And yeah, we're coming to the end of these leagues now, and we're getting to the business end of things. So a lot to play for, and we're going to find out who can get through to the finishing line. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Bye-bye. See you all.